Hey everyone, we're going to be taking a look at body triangle defense. I have 3 videos planned for this. Body triangle is extremely difficult because we are already with somebody on our backs, which is the most dominant position in fighting. And then they've established the most dominant form of lower body control that they can do, which is creating a closed circuit around our hips. Now, just a little caveat, escaping bad positions, it's extremely difficult, especially when someone's got back control on you. If you make every right move to escape a negative position and your opponent makes every right move from that dominant position, they're still gonna win every time. The only reason why you ever escape a bad position is because your opponent fucked up. Now, human error is a thing and it occurs even at the highest level. And so your job is to try and throw as many options at them or as many variables as possible to encourage them to make a mistake. And so with that, let's take a look at the body triangle. So here, Kevin's got back control and he's gonna be here on the weak side. Typically people are using the body triangle on the weak side, but it's the same either direction. He's got really strong cross-body rotational control because he is secured here on my hip with the connection really strong on my right hip, and he's got control here at my left shoulder, and it makes it very difficult for me to be able to turn. Now, there is an upper body and a lower body battle in this back control that's always taken place. If I ignore this control and I do nothing with this, even if I start to beat the body triangle, I'm gonna end up in a rear naked choke, and that's not gonna serve me anything good. So we're gonna make sure that we're always blocking the killing hand. So the arm that's over top that would threaten us with a choke is the arm that's our primary concern. This arm that's coming underneath my arm is not gonna be leading to any immediate submissions. So I'm gonna take with a C grip, blocking right down at the wrist as best as I can, and then with a monkey grip, creating a pull right above my hand. So I'm trying to control the end of the lever the best I can. Another thing that we really like doing when we're defending back control is taking the back of my head and driving it into my partner or opponent's face to drive them off to the side so I can start to win dominant head position. This is one of the only ways that I can break Kevin's posture or his alignment when he's got back control on me. The back of my head is hard and firm. He's got this nice, supple, beautiful face, and so I can just drive it in here, and it's gonna be quite comfortable for me, uncomfortable for him. This prep work of trying to win the upper body battle is gonna make my life easier when it comes to beating this body triangle. What I need to do is I need to create a direction switch of my hips. Right now, my hips are facing the exact same direction as Kevin's. His shin is a bar across my hips, locking the left side and the right side of my hips. What I'm gonna be looking at doing is turning my body up towards the weakest part of the triangle, which is where his legs are open. So he's here, he's got it nice and cinched up tight. What I need to do is I need to try and get my leg back behind his leg the best I can here, so that I can start to get my leg back. Sean Williams has a good video where he talks about trying to beat the heel on the leg that is locked in, interlaced with the body triangle. If I can get my leg past his heel here, it's much harder for him to control that hip. So I'm gonna be able to start taking base from the ground and turning myself up like this. Turn my hip out more towards the crook of his knee here, so that I start to turn my hips facing straight up to the sky, and you can see how my hips are now angled at the weakest part of his body triangle, which is where it's connected here. By me getting that switch, it's gonna allow me to, one, start to look at just moving into regular back control defense, but it's also gonna give me the ability now to be able to use my legs to open up that body triangle, bring my leg over top and push down at his heel, and create strong weight on top of his bottom leg. So it's gonna be harder for him to adjust his hip angle or even get up on top. So I'm gonna be able to start moving into just any kind of traditional back escapes you have at that point. You should have an understanding of how to escape back control if we're looking at trying to beat the body triangle. Kevin's in position, he cinches it up really tight, squeezing. If I try and just turn from here, I'm not gonna be able to do so. If he's hooking my leg as well with this body triangle, now I really can't turn. What I need to do is I need to first get rid of this hook. You can sometimes do it just by kicking your leg forward like this and then bringing it back. I'll talk about it more in the next video, but we can also look at being able to try and turn our hips to the side here to try and create a little bit more range of motion. So even if he's got me hooked here, I could still curl my leg down to the mat. I can't get it off, but I can curl it down to the mat here to generate base to start to turn myself. So now I'm gonna be able to circle my leg in front or behind his leg. So his leg is in front of mine. But here, if I bring my knee up and in front of my other leg like this, try and hook my leg, Kevin, very difficult. I keep my leg very low profile and circle it back. And now from here, I'm gonna start to get my leg even further back, connecting to the mat so I have base, so that as I'm here, any way I have, I'm defending the upper body is fine. The more freedom I have in my upper body, the more freedom I'm gonna have to move my lower body from here, and then turning myself just to adjust that hip angle. He's trying to hook at my leg. I bring my leg far away from him and I keep a low profile, try and hook my leg, Kevin. He can't really articulate and move that foot around too much as long as he's keeping a tight body triangle. If he loosens up the body triangle to try and hook down at my leg, then it's gonna be much easier for me to already make that switch. So here he's got the cinched up nice and tight. He's trying to hook my leg. I keep it really low. I move it behind and see how his heel is right here on my hip. I need to try and get my leg past it, this direction. Now it's very hard for him to control me in the rotation because he doesn't quite have this hip tied down. So at this point, I'm able to start winning this head position, turning myself here to face towards him. Maybe even starting to hook over top of that body triangle so I can start to look to get myself into a better position. And then as he tries to move into mount, I can recede and start looking to get back into a guard of my choice, usually single leg X from there. So we've got to try and turn our hips towards the weakest part of that body triangle, which is obviously where the connection itself is starting to occur between the two legs, creating that closed circuit. And that angle change is going to make it much easier to beat the body triangle. We're beating the body triangle, we're not beating back control at that point, but if we do it right, we are going to take a few fundamental steps in the right direction that's going to help the rest of our back escapes to happen from that point. So in order to escape back control, beat the body triangle, and then start moving into any of the escapes that you already know.